Hello, Dr. Cisse covering anatomy and physiology. Today we'll talk about tissues, body tissues. A tissue is just many cells together. Here on my table, you see different things. Candies, toothpick, different kind of things here that represent different types of cells that will be built to make tissues. There are 4 types of tissues. The 4 types of tissues are epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues, and nervous tissues. Okay? Epithelial, connective, muscular, nervous are the different types of tissues that make up the human body. So a tissue is just many cells coming together to form something that work together. I want to start with the epithelial. First, epi stands for top or above. Thelia means layer. It's on the top layer. What is particular about epithelial tissues is that they have cellularity. It means when you look at the epithelial tissues, you can see specific type of cells that actually come together with no space between them. For example, if I look at this table here, you can see different things with different shapes, different structure. If I look at these candies, for example, you can see they look like little circles. In epithelial tissues, these tissues will come together, like stand like this, to form some kind of layers. Based on the shapes of the cells, we have 3 types of epithelial tissues. We have squamous, means that the cells are flat like this. For example, it's kind of very flat. This also can be squamous because they're very flat. Now, squamous could be, for example, like when you fry eggs, cookies. So those type of cells are very thin and they can allow things coming in out of the body. For example, if you're breathing between the air and the blood, oxygen can come, carbon dioxide can go through. So those tissues will have to be thin. They're gonna be squamous cells. The second one will look like a square. Those are called cuboidal cells. Now, cuboidal will look like something, maybe this shape, like the height and the width are almost the same, like a cube. Then, after cuboidal, we have columnar. Columnar will look like something long like this. It's very long or something like that. So these are gonna be columnar. So based on the shapes of the cell, we got 3. Squamous, cuboidal, columnar. Based on the number of layers, we got 2 kinds. Either simple squamous or stratified squamous if it's a squamous cell. If it's cuboidal, simple cuboidal, which means 1 layer, stratified cuboidal, many layers. If it's columnar, it could be simple columnar, 1 layer, or stratified columnar, many layer. So basic many layers. If you think about it, we got 6 kinds based on the shape of the cells and the number of layers. Now we have 2 that are kind of very particular. One is called transitional. It is between the stratified squamous and the stratified squamous and stratified cuboidal. And then we have pseudo-stratified columnar. That one looks like stratified, but it is simple, okay? Those are epithelial tissue. The second types of tissues are connective tissues. Why are they called connective? They connect things. Now, when I told you about epithelial, I said you can pick up cells that are like this, you can put them together to form epithelial, like this. It could be any kind of cells. We're going to talk about these cells in detail. But in connective tissues, we have cells, but they're not together. They're going to be in a ground substance. If I take this flour, for example, this is a flour, I can mix this with water to form a dough. This dough actually will be like a ground substance. It will hold everything else together. Connective tissues will have some kind of dough, some kind of ground substance, something that holds all the stuff together. That something looks like when I take flour and add water, mix to make a dough, and then adding different type of cells and different type of fibers. In connective tissues, we have three types of fiber. The three types of fibers are collagen fibers, which are rigid. Here we use toothpicks as collagen fiber. And then we have reticular fiber, like broken collagen fiber, like pieces of it, and elastic fiber. Here, you see, look at the elastic, they look like more meshy looking like elastic fiber. These three fibers will be mixed with the ground substance. Based on the amount of water you put in, like liquid, we can make different types of connective tissue. If I put a lot of water in this, I'll make it so liquidish, it'll be liquid connective tissue. If I put less water, it'll be more like jello-like. That's gonna be like jello connective tissue, like a gel type. And then if I put just a little water, it'll be like solid connective tissue. It's gonna be like bones and, for example, hard collagen. So connective tissue will be a ground substance, which will be like a flour to the body. It's gonna be some fibers and the cell that will come be added into it. And these cells can be different type of cells. For example, if I add a lot of water, I add a red blood cell, I'm making blood. If I take a little water and add an osteocyte, like bone cells, I make bone. If I take, for example, fat cells and I put it in the jello ground substance, something kind of not too hard, not too soft, I make fat, adipose tissue. Basically, when you think about it, the connective tissue will be based on three things: the ground substance, the fiber, and the cell. The cell can be different types of cell. It could be red blood cells, white blood cells, fat cells, fibroblast, different kind of cell that you mix with some kind of ground substance, and you're adding different type of fibers. Depending on what fibers you're adding and what ground substance, you will determine to see what kind of connective tissue will be that. Then the third one will be the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue looks like some kind of wire. You can see the muscle fiber here, myofibril. They come together to form a muscle fiber, and you're gonna see a lot of nuclei on top of them because the muscle fiber. We have three different types of muscle tissues. We have skeletal muscle, we have smooth muscle, we have cardiac muscle. All of them are muscle. The muscle will be different. We'll have a video just about muscle tissue. Here, we're just gonna do a general presentation. Those muscle cells will be there for movement because the job of the muscle is movement. The last will be the nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is gonna be the nervous system. The nervous system tissue will be made of neuron. Here we're giving you an example of the neuron. This is the neuron with the cell body of the neuron. The axon covered by myelin here. You can see the myelin is covering the neuron. So a neuron's job is for communication. Here you can see if I take the neuron and I put the myelin sheath covering and different kind of things around it, I will make the nervous tissue. So here we got four types of tissues. We have the nervous tissue with the neuron and neuroglia. Glia just means supportive cell of the neuron. We have the muscular tissue. We got three different kind of muscles: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, cardiac muscle. We have connective tissues divided into different groups based on the ground substance, the fibers, and the cells. And we have epithelial tissues that are classified based on the shape of the cell and the number of layers. The shapes could be squamous, cuboidal, columnar. And then the layers could be simple or stratified. Now, this is the basic presentation of tissues. I hope you like it. Thank you, and I'll see you in class.